Well, after going on quite a tear with the Comet, I figured it's time to give another car some love. A car that I may have been slightly too hard on in my earlier analysis of it. Yeah, it doesn't have as much ground clearance as the police version, but they otherwise drive the same. Also note the pop in from the swing, or not swing set, the jungle gyms over there. Also exploring other ways to get down that hill aside from cutting through the jungle gym area. I think this car, I say the same thing about the civilian Buffalo. You gotta mind the width. But it's not a bad car, especially in the confines of original GTA 4. I mean, this is not a slow car. It's really fat, but it's also very nimble for its size and handles most bumps very, very well. I mean, you see the suspension's working, but even when I caught some air, I didn't lose control of the car. Like my scenic route here, murdering all the pedestrians that are clearly not knowing how to get out of the way. Look at the speed I have coming down that hill. Watch this. This is great. See? This is what I mean about the FIB Buffalo. It handles most bumps very well, and it's consistent. It's not like the Comet where it can go from landing a jump that you took at a weird or bad angle one way and then just bouncing around and porpoising when you take a jump properly the next. See, it's a big target, but it's not bad. I mean, it's got power to get you up and out of trouble. It's a little hard to launch from a dead stop, though. I mean, it's not too bad here because I'm on dry tarmac, but in the rain, or especially in mud, aka wet dirt, I mean, this thing is a pig to launch. But once it hooks up, it's pretty good. Look at that. I basically landed on my rear wheel. You can see how it caved in the bumper and the taillight housing there. It's not bad. It's a fun car. It's not a little car. And early on, as and a fellow GTA 4 player, GB, will call it Goddammit Boone. Kind of a funny username there. Arguably funnier than mine. They say the term gapping was used a lot. Well, she's right. I mean, that's probably the most important thing to learn with some cars, and this is one of them. Because gapping with this car, if you do it right, you can really pull some really high average speeds, and you can get away with some really risky plays. But if you do it wrong, you can have a lot of wheel damage, because this is a weird car. It's not really a glass cannon, but it's closer to one than you think. You think, oh, Dodge Charger police car must be strong. No, not really. I mean, that one errant landing, yeah, the car took it and it still drives okay, but that did a ton of damage to my rear wheel. A lot more than you can see it as I drift right here. I mean, it's bent in there a lot more than it should be. Now, like I said, it's not to the point where it's affecting handling, at least not adversely, but it just goes to show. This is a car that you have to be paying attention with. It's more like a sports sedan. You compare it to, say, a Faction or a Vigor. Well, no, not Vigor. A Vigor is pretty forgiving. Yeah, this car is actually closer to a Faction than it is a news cruiser. I mean, its combination of speed, weakness, and size make it really, really interesting. Because on one hand, you go, well, I'm so quick. I've got acceleration. I stop decently well. I theoretically can pull a very high average speed. And then reality sets in, and oh, well, my camera batteries are died. Sorry about that. Now, you may be wondering why I'm doing a post-commentary. This is because, just like most times I do it, that I didn't like the commentary I did during the Getaway. It just was not good enough. I don't know what I was doing. I was probably distracted looking at Ford Panther platform porn, trying to drive with one hand and, get a little busy with the balls with the other hand. But, okay, that's probably not true. But you would probably believe me if I told you otherwise. I'm just so convincing like that. Now, here's one about gapping. Now, with practice, you can go through that kind of quick like I did. But you really, really have to practice. I mean, it sounds stupid, but just try driving through tight areas at speed with the car. You'll be amazed at the confidence you will build and the trials and errors that you will inevitably have to go through and make, respectively. I mean, and really, the only place that this car is truly bad at is, vertical obstacle climbing. I mean, it's weird because sometimes you think, oh, well, the car handles bumps well. That must mean it has a lot of suspension travel, and that also must mean it can just bounce its way up things. And it really can't. It's really, really not good at that. I mean, my test, really, there's a couple steep staircases in Broker, and I think a couple in Alderney I practiced doing basically climbing with at various speeds and angles. And this car has a lot of problems with them. It'll jam its wheels, or, I mean, the best case scenario, you just lose a lot of speed. Worst case scenario, you take wheel damage on a lot of it. And, normally, you can get away with playing a little fast and loose with the staircase climbing, but when it comes to it, you don't want to play to a car's weaknesses. This is a car that enjoys speed, and it doesn't need to be a brute force and a climber, so to speak. This isn't a car that you go through things with. This is a car that you go around things with, and you go around them very quickly. And also, I was able to easily avoid the stars here. Yeah, there we go. You got to take advantage of that runway space.